This is Mandy Leon, and you are listening to another wrestling podcast.
Another wrestling podcast! Let's get ready to rumble! The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be!
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
Oh my God!
We are taking over.
Drink it in, man.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And if you're not down with that, then he's got 2 words for you!
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only 2 in my book.
AWB, another wrestling podcast.
There's so many wrestling podcasts, right? So it's like, do we just kind of want to jump in and just be another like wrestling podcast?
Bada boom! Realest guys in the room, how you doing?
All right. Welcome to episode 155. I'm Credo.
I'm Minority Mike.
And I'm the social assassin, Angry Cooter. Hey guys, let me ask you guys a question real quick. Who do you think's a bigger bully, JBL or United Airlines?
You wanna? I'm going on vacation next month. I'm going to Cancun, Mexico.
Oh boy.
And I think I'm going to have to switch airlines.
Oh, no.
Simply because of the fact that for some reason now United Airlines, they have in-flight entertainment going on. Like, you could sit back and watch live entertainment happen, or you could be a part of the entertainment, whatever best suits your interests. So that's going to be a great experience. I think I'm going to cancel my JetBlue flight to Mexico and find a seat on United Airlines and just hope my lottery ticket gets picked.
There you go. Just feel like the old days of ECW where you bring your own weapons for the wrestlers and stuff. There you go.
I'm training. I'm doing my push-ups. I'm getting ready. I've been hitting the speed bag. I'm doing mitts again, man. I'm starting to get back into the MMA flow. So when I get on there, I'll have to bring my cornermen with me. Ready for this.
The best thing I saw out of that was like people making like memes out of like Negan walking on the airplane with his baseball bat.
I saw that. That was great.
Today, everybody welcome Manny the Bull Fernandez. He's going to be a part of ESS Promotions. ESSpromotions.com, guys. You can see and meet Manny Fernandez at the Legends of the Ring on June 10th in Monroe, New Jersey, and at the Pro Wrestling World on June 11th in Allentown, PA. If you want more information on this, head on over to our friends at ESSpromotions.com.
It's no BS. It's ESS. But let me say this, man. If you guys have never been to a Legends of the Ring convention, I mean, it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of guys. It's a really good time, so definitely check it out. I really, really think it's a must-see. It's a must-go-to.
There's so much social media out there. I'm not trying to plug everything, but we never get to plug too many things. I figure let the world in on our Twitter feed, right? Let us know where they can find us and tweet at us. I got some good videos out there on the side I did with my day job. I want you guys to check it out. I had the pleasure to talk with AJ Lee last week, and I did a bunch of other stuff for Ring of Honor, but I'm not going to get too much into it. You got to follow me at Credo, at CREDO. Follow the show at A Wrestling POD. And guys, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can follow me if you dare at @theangry_1. That's at @theangry_ONE.
And you can follow me at Mike Cologne for real. That's Mike Cologne, COLON, the number 4 in real. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my government name was just thrown out there, Cologne, not colon.
What's happening with JBL out there? Mike, I think you know better than anybody else. Can you get us into this little debate, if you will, or conversation?
It's a pretty crazy situation that's going on with this guy. So everybody knows the history of JBL. He's known for bullying, hazing guys. I mean, the stuff with Blue Meanie, shooting on Blue Meanie in the ring and backstage at the ECW show. Stuff with Matt Hardy. He's done stuff to The Miz, Coach. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, Justin Roberts just came out with his book, and he just talks about how he stole Justin Roberts' passport when Justin went to the airport, and because of that, he didn't have his passport. He had to go to United States Embassy to get a brand new passport, which delayed a lot of his travel. Recently, I mean, Mauro Ranallo, one of the best combat analysts in the world. He's been off WWE TV. Him and JBL have been going back and forth. Well, mostly JBL has been bullying him, apparently, with stuff. And Morrow is very open with the illness that he has. He suffers depression and bipolar disorder. And because of the stuff that JBL is doing, it kind of forced Morrow into a corner, and he had to just take time off. And it's a very sensitive subject for myself and for other fans. It's just crazy. The world of professional wrestling fans have turned against JBL and have gone at him on social media with the hashtags #FireJBL. This past week, the crowd chanted #FireJBL. I mean, it's exploded. Anybody that supports Morrow on Twitter gets blocked by JBL. Yes, that's right. JBL is trolling the Twitter feeds right now. You do not even have to mention JBL or at JC Layfield because he knows you're supporting Morrow by finding the searches with Morrow, and he's just going to block you. I got blocked by JBL, but that's just because I trolled the shit out of him and bullied him back. But people like the Young Bucks who just tweeted out to Morrow with support, blocked. I know a bunch of other people who didn't even tweet to JBL but tweeted to Morrow. They also got blocked. I mean, JBL's having this crazy block party. I don't think it's just you want to cover yourself up from not looking like a bully, but you're doing this. It's ridiculous. And I don't know, guys, I want to know your thoughts on the situation because I can go on all day about it.
We haven't seen a block party like this since the Goldust block party.
No,
remember that?
Yeah.
It's a shame, man. You keep your business at work. I mean, they couldn't just work together. I got a question for that kind of goes with this too. I mean, how much do you think this is JBL? And I know what's that small percentage of who's telling him to say certain things through his headset towards maybe other people, like to where, yes, JBL is, 90% doing this, but is there some other dickhead on the headset saying, telling him to egg people on or something like that? Do you think that's maybe a problem too? Because I know Vinnie Mac loves to be in everybody's ears, loves to be that little bird in people's ears. Do you think they're to blame too for some of this?
See, that would make me really not okay with what JBL is saying, but I would excuse it more if he's being told to say certain things. Look, I'm of the opinion where I think he's a terrible announcer. There's a million reasons why you should fire JBL. I really don't know if this is one of them. You're in a business where, we choreograph violence, we talk trash, we shoot promos, and whether it's on Twitter and if he's in character or if it's on this WWE network thing, the guy, basically expressed an opinion. And for me to say he should lose his job over that, I can't do it. I got to stay true to myself just in a sense where there are so many people who get fired for saying things, and it's almost as if we talk about it all the time. Everybody needs their safe space. And I'm like, fuck your safe space. This is what the show is about. We talk shit. We're commentating. He's supposed to be a heel. Is this a work or is this a shoot? We don't know. Now, again, he should be fired for a million other things. The Justin Robert thing alone. I mean, he should be gone. Quite frankly, he should go to jail if he did that. I mean, that's a ridiculously bad offense. But, I mean, for this, again, I feel bad for Mauro Ranallo. I really enjoyed his work. If this sent him over the edge, I feel really, really bad. But at the end of the day, this is the business you're in. That's really how I feel. I got to be consistent because I've supported so many people who have been fired for saying stupid things. Your Anthony Cumia is probably the greatest example of that. So, I mean, there it is. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, I got to disagree 110% with your opinion, and I'm going to go on now. I'm going to go off in a minute, simply because of the fact, look, it's more than just on the headset that what JBL does. He does stuff backstage. Now, granted, it's a part of the business, but at the same time, when you have a coworker who's openly talking about the fact that he has a mental illness, a chemical imbalance in his head, who can't control his emotions and can't control the moods he gets in. You don't push him to that limit. I mean, and I hate talking about it, but the fact is I had a friend who lost the battle against all these disorders because he was pushed to the limit constantly. So the fact that the WWE they knew about this because they supported Morrow about his illness. I mean, Morrow has done fundraisers in the past, and WWE has backed him up with these fundraisers. I mean, Morrow in another promotion always joked about it because he had the right amount of people, positive people around him that supported him. So he called himself the bipolar rock and roller. That was his own little nickname because he was open about it. Then what probably drove Morrow to the point of depression is the fact that he finally lands his dream job of finally being in the WWE. And it's something that every person wants to do. And then when you go there and you got a fucking guy like JBL who's constantly bullying you and pushing you to the limit and knows you have depression and bipolar issues but just keeps fucking poking at you, that shit fucking pisses me off. For people to call Morrow a sensitive snowflake and to say shit like that, do your goddamn research on the illness and understand that it's something that he cannot control on his own. That shit does not fly with me at all, man. I'm sorry.
Now, a lot of people, too, have been saying stuff online. A lot of people have their own comments to the story, especially people in the wrestling world. This is from WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash. He says, end quote, he saw a few stories about JBL being a bully. One of the most intelligent performers, just is a man that expects the men to be men. JBL broke in an era of 300-pound badass men, so his psychological thoughts are very real. Everyone could go. He's shifted to our new era. JBL is one of the most thoughtful on-air personalities WWE has. He's a man's man, but looking to always advance talent. Hashtag, don't be a bitch. He also added, and quote, I can only go on my relationship, and you haven't seen the bully. What are your thoughts about Kevin Nash's response about what everybody's saying?
I'm going to say, let me jump in here real quick, because I did see this, and I did also hear Jim Cornette doing commentary on this whole situation. And he's a big JBL fan. He was totally basically telling stories about how not that he's bullied, but he's a great storyteller from what Cornette says, and he likes to break balls. Now, I've worked with a lot of guys in my day who, when you first meet them, they will fuck with you and fuck with you and fuck with you. And some people let it go because they want to do the right thing. And granted, I understand that it's a disease, but where I come from and from what I've learned over the years, if maybe he would have broken JBL's balls back once or twice, it might have stopped. Because from my experience, when you jump on somebody and you show them you're part of the team, well, you understand where I'm coming from? That stuff tends to really end. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Mauro Ranallo is a bitch, but I'm saying if he might have stepped up a little bit and tried to just be one of the guys, and that's unfortunate because I don't know what that's like. I don't know if he was even capable of doing that. But you cut the head off that monster right from the start, that shit ends quick.
I think Mauro, where he comes from, compared to the locker rooms he shared in other promotions to the WWE locker room, is two completely different worlds. Where and I sent you that Dave Meltzer report that was actually really good. He broke it down very well. Where the WWE has that culture of the hazing and the bullying backstage that goes by a lot. I mean, Vince McMahon hazed Jonathan Coachman and pretended like he was actually getting arrested, which Coachman was very pissed off about that. So they have a different type of culture there. But the thing is, so Mauro comes in, and I don't see him being the type of guy that likes controversy or like confrontation.
That's fair.
Because of where he's come from before in the past. So going into this world, it's probably brand new to him. So he probably doesn't really seem like the type of person that will try to stand up for him because he's never had to before. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like your culture needs to be put on hold when you got a guy who can at one point off himself, because then that makes the company look really bad.
Yeah. Now, guys, I mean, at the end of the day, the fans, you know how passionate wrestling fans are, obviously. They're probably going to keep on JBL until he is gone. Do you think this will affect his job? Do you think the fans get him taken off of TV just because of what they could possibly do at the shows or whatnot? It's pretty much bad public relations for having a bully, especially when you have your own little "Don't be a bully, be a star" campaign within your company. Do you think the fans can, I don't know, have a little takeover of their own and get them removed?
It started on Tuesday with they had the one guy who got ejected from the show who had a sign that said "JBL bullied me," and not only that, the fans are starting the chants of "Fire Bradshaw" at shows, and then "We want Morrow." And I think, the WWE, just like Cooter said, I don't think they should fire him, but I think they need to do something, take him off TV for a while to set an example, to show the Be a Star campaigns that, they're doing something. So, because the Be a Star program is a big deal for the WWE. If they lose the Be a Star program, like, a lot of stuff for them will go downhill, and that'll be bad publicity.
There's something else I want to mention. I mean, we've done a lot of interviews and we've heard a lot of stories from these guys. And as fans, we really always do enjoy the backstage stories and the ribs. Like, we always like hearing about the great Owen Hart ribs. And it just seems like it's all fun and games until somebody we actually really like gets hurt. And it's somewhat hypocritical of us, because will we be having the same conversation if it was, I don't know, not Otunga, or, because I don't think anybody would care, but Michael Cole, will we be having the same conversation if it was Michael Cole? I don't think so.
It's great to talk about this, though. I know it's definitely a little bit of serious side from AWP, but yeah, it's good to see what we have to say about this. But guys, a lot of other things are happening in the world of wrestling, so let's just get right into it, shall we, with the week that was. I don't know, whatever happened in the wrestling world this week, I think the one thing that comes to mind is Braun Strowman flipping a fucking ambulance. I mean, I understand that, like, okay, he had to beat Roman up. And, we always joke around that, hey, you got to make Roman look strong. Holy cow. Like, they totally made Braun look more than his equal of being strong.
I'm not done with you yet.
Like, I understood.
How many times did he kick his ass that night? Like 5?
I'm like, what are they trying to do? Do they really want us to cheer for Braun? I mean, like, he threw them off a freaking ledge on a stretcher.
My God.
And then on top of it, I'm like, no, he's not trying to lift this fucking ambulance right now. And lo and behold, Braun Strowman turns over the ambulance, guys.
That has to be rigged. That has to be rigged.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. But I mean, at the same time, like,
rigged.
We always joke, right? We always joke like, we got to make Roman look strong. Right? That's the whole joke with everybody inside. And, okay, now, how do you make Roman look like he actually got hurt after this? He cannot come back in a week, maybe 2 weeks. What do you do with Roman Reigns after this? He practically died in this whole beating down. It was unbelievable how much it just kept going on and on and on.
You know what's crazy? When I was watching this, it brought me back to Steve Austin versus Bret Hart in that it was like a street fight where he brutalized him with the chair in the ring, and he had Bret in the sharpshooter all through the commercial break, and then when they came back, he was still in. And then he beat him in the ambulance, I think, like twice. It's like, how many times are you going to kick poor Bret Hart's ass? That's what I was thinking of when Braun did this. Because he just, all right, next segment. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, but Braun's kicking his ass again. I'm like, this was fantastic. It's almost as if, all right, let's get Roman off of TV. And maybe they're making him look strong. Because I have a feeling when it's time for Brock Lesnar to come back, they want to save Roman and Brock for one of the big pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. And I think let's throw Braun at Brock, because right now we have nobody in the title picture, which is pretty much why we got a WWE Championship match, which is the SmackDown title, on the next Raw pay-per-view.
Listen, you guys remember when Enzo got injured and he was coming out on stage in the little wheelchair? Wheelchair. Just imagine you hear Roman's music hit and he comes out in the fucking wheelchair. Well, so after we witnessed an attempt of murder and a criminal act on Braun Strowman's
Petitions
half,
being going around online too, everywhere.
somehow out of all this, the most serious injury that Roman suffered was a separated shoulder. Come on, guys.
What's he going to do? Is he going to come back with one of the Undertaker's old motorcycles and go, "This is my bike now"?
Like, okay, so let's just run through this segment, please.
I wonder how long it was from the beginning to the end, because it was like at least 15 minutes of just beating him up.
At least 15, 20 minutes, dude. Yeah.
So Braun takes one of those big carts and rams it into his face with his head against the wall. There's no facial injuries that they could talk about, like, oh, like he suffered a broken nose or he suffered a cracked skull, because that's what I would thought would have happened with that first shot.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you see Roman getting on the stretcher, and then Braun comes out of nowhere, and which in my opinion was probably one of the funniest and greatest visuals I have ever seen on WWE TV. And it got to a point where, like, I don't know if I could take this seriously anymore. I mean, it was entertaining at its finest, but like this feud, when he just took that stretcher and just launched it, and what made it even better was the crowd. They loved it.
The chanted for Braun.
Oh my god,
they hate Roman so much. Like James Ellsworth could have done that to Roman, they would still cheer.
The best chant was when Braun flipped them in the stretcher. The crowd chanted, "You deserve it." I was laughing so hard.
If they want the ratings to go up, they just need a camera to go on Vince McMahon every time they try to like give sympathy to Roman or try to make him look good, and just to go to the crowd or just go to Vince McMahon, just see how pissed off he looks at, like, no matter what we do, the crowd won't love him, and like, oh, I could just see his face right now, and just everybody having to like, hey Vince, I don't know, we tried, maybe, I don't know what to do, like trying to play sympathy for what they're doing with him. But man, fucking Braun Strowman, everybody.
The man amongst men.
Well, this brings up another topic, because we talked about Braun kicking Roman the whole night, but this brings up the topic of the Universal title being MIA pretty much. Okay, Brock won it at Mania. He hasn't been on TV since Mania. He hasn't been on TV. He wasn't on the TV this week. There's no talk about the Universal title. It went from one part-timer to another part-timer. And now, guys, you had this little bit of a shakeup, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But still, you have your brand championship, your number one championship missing. And now guys are just fighting for, the number two titles. They don't have like a main championship on their show. And I hear it probably won't even be defended till at least June or July. Because like you said, they'll probably throw maybe Braun at him or whatnot. We're having a SmackDown championship match at the next Raw pay-per-view. So what did they not think about what they were going to do before they did it with this Universal Championship? I mean, could we have had a better outcome or have at least a Universal Champion on Raw every week?
I kind of have a feeling that they thought maybe they could get Goldberg to stick around a little bit more. Maybe that was part of it, and then it was like, all right, well, let's just put it on Brock, because at least he's going to be here. I have no fucking idea what they were thinking. But with the brand shakeup, they did do a good job of keeping a title picture on Raw, regardless of the fact that it's Randy Orton, because Bray is now on Raw, so that'll be on that pay-per-view. So they're throwing smoke and mirrors, and they're hiding the fact that one of the top champions isn't around. So at least it's something.
Well, here we go again, guys. It's 2015 again, and Brock Lesnar is your world champion. The internet is going to explode within a month. That this title is not on TV, it's not being used. You know what? I mean, I personally didn't have a problem with Brock being champion in 2015 and him not being on TV as much, because it kind of, in a way, makes the title more special, where it's like it's rare when that title comes on TV, but when it does, it means something. This time around, it's not as special to me. But the problem I had in 2015 was during that absence of Brock, they didn't do a good job elevating the other talent to kind of get them over, elevating the IC title or the United States title. Now Brock's not going to be around as much. They have no choice. They need to start making the IC title great. It's not going to be great on Ambrose right now. Let's be real here. The United States title, it's on Kevin Owens, which honestly is a good choice. He could make that title great again because he's the face of United States now, as he likes to call it. So with Brock gone, I mean, they have to really capitalize on the younger talent and getting them over, or else it's going to fail.
I had a quick vision in my head because this pay-per-view coming up, Payback, it's not till April 30th, so we still got a few weeks, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm curious of what they want to do or what they're going to do, and I'm sure this won't happen, but it's just one of those things in my head to where you're having Bray Wyatt face Randy Orton on a Raw pay-per-view to where if Bray Wyatt does win, he's technically on Raw now, he could bring the WWE original championship over to Raw. And then, you know, you have another match like that where Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship, to where whoever wins that is going to be on SmackDown to that fact or whatever. But so in my head, I'm like, okay, if Bray Wyatt wins that WWE Championship, does Raw get that championship now? For a few months, hear me out, and then whenever this draft, it was I think last year in June, so it's only a few months away. It's not that long, but so could they draft Brock over to SmackDown with the Universal Championship or something to that effect? I don't know. I'm just like, do they even know what they want to do with that championship anymore? Or at the end of the day, give me your final thoughts of, is it bad that it's not there every week, or does it really bother you?
See, I was always a fan of the champion only defending the title at special events. I mean, when we were kids, I mean, you'd never see Hogan on Wrestling Challenge or Superstars. You know, you'd have to go to a house show to see him defend that belt, or it would have to be one of the big four, or a Saturday night main event. It would have to be a big name show. So, I mean, when Brock finally does show up with the belt, it's a big deal. I just think that they can't go too long without him being on TV.
I learned to accept it when I knew the outcome at WrestleMania. It's kind of like the UFC. I'm comparing this like how I compared it to in 2015, where let's just say a guy like, let's just use Anderson Silva, for example. And he was one of the most dominant champions in UFC history. You don't see him on once a month. You see him, or any UFC champion, you see them once every other month, every couple months defending their title. So I could see where you can compare both of them, where that champion, you don't see him, but when you do see him, you know it's going to be a fight and you know it's going to be something special. But then again, this is professional wrestling and that's MMA. So the fact is, I mean, the title's not going to be on TV as much. I accepted it. So I'm just going to see how they play it out. And really, it's not Brock. It's a WWE and what they do in the absence of that title.
All right, guys. Well, moving right along, we have the new look for NXT. It's Rage. Just updating the look, updating the theme music. We also have the return of Drew McIntyre on NXT. Any thoughts about this whole new look? I mean, is it just their idea of, hey, this is after Mania? We're up that, you know, the new breed of guys are in there, so we're just trying to update the look. We updated the belts, you know, just bringing it into 2017, I guess, just trying to update everything.
Two things. One thing, NXT Rage. Somewhere in the United States, Alex Riley is pissed off because his whole gimmick was Rage. I don't know how it fit in with Alex Riley, but he tried to get that word Rage over with his character so much. Another thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, I caught this, but Drew McIntyre debuted, which he should have stuck with the Broken Hearts, or that one theme he had in the WWE. I forgot what the name of it is, Broken something.
Broken
that
Dreams.
I thought his
No, was it
Broken Dreams? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Broken Dreams. Yeah, that theme was awesome. I loved his theme. But so he's using Roderick Strong's theme. When Roderick Strong debuted in NXT, that was his theme song minus the bagpipes. So now they recycled Roderick Strong's first theme song.
I didn't
and
notice
just added
that.
bagpipes. I noticed it because when I was watching NXT, I was like, this song sounds so familiar. And then
I kind of liked it.
I hated it. I didn't like it with Roderick Strong in the beginning. I went on Twitter and it was like the trending thing where it just constantly like everybody's talking about it, and it just they recycled Roderick Strong's theme and just added bagpipes to it. It was so terrible. I hope that they pull a Samoa Joe and change his theme music within a month.
Well, a lot of new guys though, and a lot of new looks. Anybody standing out there for you who you think's going to be somebody, I guess, to keep an eye on in the new Rage era?
Oh my God! Did you see that fucking monster Dylan Miley in the tag match with DIY? Oh, he was in there. I love some of the stuff they did. Like they had Ciampa run at him with a clothesline. He just ran right through the clothesline. Like I've never seen that before. Like this massive powerlifter, because he's not like, he doesn't have that bodybuilder look. He's got that powerlifting, like the strongman look. It was just incredible. And he was just palming his partner's head, picking him up and throwing him down, picking him up and throwing him. Unbelievable show of strength. I mean,
did you guys see that meme where Ciampa's standing there and they have a little Mario mushroom and it equals the one guy? What's his name again, Cooter?
What, Dylan Miley?
Dylan Miley. That's his. They got to change that name, Miley. I hear Miley, I think of Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
But he kind of looks like, in a way, like he kind of reminds me of Bruno Sammartino if you really look at a picture of him.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a young Bruno.
What's that powerlifting look? Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think they have big plans for this guy. That's why they kind of put him over at the end of the match. I mean, he really does. You know, I look like an overgrown Tommaso Ciampa in a way. But hey, they need to build new stars, and they need to rebrand themselves. So I'm hoping that this guy is everything that they're going to put behind him.
Now, one problem coming out of NXT, or not coming out of NXT, well, Simon Gotch, the Vaudevillains. Simon Gotch asked for his release. Chalk him up of, how many guys have come out of NXT. Granted, they did awesome down in NXT, but when they hit that main stage, it just didn't translate over there. I mean, Adam Rose, Simon Gotch, the list goes on and on of other guys who've just made it to the main roster. And I mean, I love the Vaudevillains. The Vaudevillains are great down in NXT, but as soon as you put them into that bigger stage, it just didn't have that same effect. And, I think Simon Gotch, asked for his release just because, they weren't really using him the way, they could have probably been using him. And, it's hard, especially with the character that he had. But I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts about that too down in NXT? Is there something they could be doing to just help that small arena aspect out to where, like I said, you're in that small atmosphere. It's almost like the same fans all the time, almost like what TNA was doing. You have those same weekly fans because you're in the same building every week, but it's not translating to the main roster. And guys like Simon Gotch fall into that category of, man, it worked down there, but it's not working up here.
Credo, it's hit or miss with them, because there's a lot of examples of guys who were awesome in NXT, and when they get to the main roster, like you said, it just doesn't translate. Your Adam Rose, your Tyler Breeze, the Ascension, Vaudevillains now. But does anybody really care about Simon Gotch? No, not really. I could give two shits. But when you look at some of the gimmicks that they've tried where they're thinking outside of the box that have worked, the Nakamura entrance, the Finn Balor, what they've done for Samoa Joe was just incredible. I mean, Ty Dillinger, stupid little cheesy gimmick, and look how over as fuck this guy is. So you got to take the good with the bad. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think in this case, they didn't really get much TV time from the second they made the main roster anyway. They were never really given a shot. At least when the Ascension came up as a team, they were used. I mean, they were buried, but they were used. When was the last time you even remember seeing the Vaudevillains on SmackDown at all, in any way, shape, or form?
You know, that anyone can use the argument that it's how the WWE uses these talents that come up from NXT. But when I saw the Vaudevillains, I knew for a fact that these guys were not going to make it on the main roster with that gimmick. It just wasn't going to work. It would probably be okay for the first month, and then it's just going to get stale real quick because no one's going to buy into it. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, you got guys like Tyler Breeze who could be amazing right now, but he's in a worthless tag team, in my opinion. The Ascension, who could have been put over amazingly right now, I don't understand what they're doing with them. But then you got the Vaudevillains who did get that chance at a run at the tag titles a couple months ago, and it just didn't work. It just didn't. So, I mean, good luck to Simon Gotch. It's really not a loss. I mean, is it going to hurt Aiden English? Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm curious because when they first debuted, they debuted with Enzo and Cass, and like you said, they got that opportunity. It was that number one contenders match. I'm wondering if Enzo getting hurt in that first tag match that they had on the pay-per-view has anything to do with why they were used less and less. Yeah. I mean, because we've seen a guy like Ken Kennedy, you know, where he either almost hurt somebody, basically either get buried or fired.
Well, he also had a few fights backstage too. I heard he was doing something with Sin Cara, right? So he had a little backstage scuffles with Sin Cara as well. So that just made him even look worse, bringing him up to the main roster. Definitely not getting along with everybody in the back, right?
Well, Sin Cara's been fighting everybody. Sin Cara fought Jericho in the back of the bus on one of the tours. I remember that, hearing that story.
Yep, I did hear that one too. Jesus, man.
Well, guys, to fix this, do you think we have to get out of that NXT arena more? Do we have to, record it live in just the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie? Record it in smaller arenas around the country just to get out of that bubble down there. Because, like I said, people who go there weekly, it's definitely, everybody's going to love these gimmicks, even as bad as they are, or, you know what I mean? To where I think they need to test it more places than just that one place. Do you think just getting outside of that bubble would help them?
Well, that's what the house shows are for, wouldn't you say? I mean, I think them being in that arena is what makes it special. Mm-hmm. Is what makes that character recognition happen for the occasional viewers when they turn it on the WWE Network. So, if they hit the road in these house shows, they see how it translated on the road there. Now, the problem with that is you're not getting main roster house show type of guys, because when we would go up to that show up in the Armory in Albany, those weren't your typical WWE fans. Those were all right, we're looking for the alternative, and NXT has always been that alternative.
I mean, I can understand the argument of, like, let's put them in, like, a big arena and tape before, Raw or before SmackDown. But at the same time, like it kind of takes away because it's special. It's like... It's a special thing with the fans down there. And then when you travel, I mean, you have like a cult following of fans that follow that product by itself. I mean, when you're down at Full Sail University and the ring announcer's socks are over with the crowd, I mean, that's like an inside thing. And I got to experience it firsthand, and I thought that was awesome. And you're not going to see that at a big arena. The ring announcer's socks are getting cheered. I mean, it was crazy. So it's like its own different universe, its own world. And I like it. I dig it. I think it's cool. Bringing that to, like, the big arenas with the casual fans, it's probably not going to work as well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think last but not least in this week, that was somebody who might be infringing on your gimmick, Cooter, of ranting.
Oh my God, yes.
Del Rio has been kind of ranting lately. He went on this drunken rant. He's still using Periscope, by the way. I don't know. Just going on.
Who uses Periscope these days?
Del Rio. And so he said some stuff, basically, quoting different things as, he's like, I'm close to Stanford, so I could go pay a visit to somebody. That's where all the pussies live, he said. He also called out, I think, Triple H saying, hey, big nose with the small dick, I think he said. He said a lot of stuff on there. So it's, Cooter, I think I'll let you handle this one as far as what did you think about this? Because he was actually in Poughkeepsie last week for Big Time Wrestling, and I also heard he was still calling out some stuff on WWE. I mean,
what's crazy is the last time I saw somebody use Periscope was when Mike Colon sent me a screenshot of Alexa Bliss doing a Periscope where he says, "Bang my friend Cooter" in the comments. Screenshotted it quick. Thought I forgot about that. I still have that picture, believe it or not. Anyway,
follow him on Twitter for the tweets.
I was absolutely entertained by this. I thought it was hilarious. Let's be honest. Del Rio has an axe to grind, and maybe he feels the way that they're treating his woman is not exactly fair. And he may or may not have a point. That's his point of view. He left the company. He's bitter. He's angry. I thought he was funny. I'm curious though. It didn't necessarily look like he was just drunk. He seemed a little bit more hyper than you would be if you were just, I don't want, allegedly. That's how it looked like to me. But you know what? There are some people who just get overexcited and hyper when they're drunk. Me being one of them. So, I kind of understand that, but I thought this shit was absolutely hilarious. But did he say something during this video about Paige isn't even going to go back, or she's going to be having a little baby? They did that. They did that too, and I believe they did it on like April 1st or ish, like the day before. So I don't know if they were just being dicks like that too. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing. But you know what the thing is? Do you think he's going to get typecast into this bitter WWE guy? Because he did it once, but then he's kind of doing it in other places, and he's just not stopping about bashing WWE. I mean, there's come a point to where it's like, okay, Del Rio, we get it. You hate him. I don't know, because he's going to be that guy in the Indies now. He's definitely not going back there. And who's going to want him if he's just keep bashing all the companies? You know what I mean? He's not playing. You make a good professional, point. You make a good point because he reminds me of one of your favorites, because when he left the first time, he had a real legit axe to grind with the whole racist comment thing. So I could see him being pissed off and having something to say about the company who didn't support him. I mean, if that would have happened in this time around, I think it would have been a completely different story with how we can't say this and we can't say that. I mean, he was literally maybe a few months away from this ultra, safe space fucking routine but now he sounds like Bret Hart. It's just very bitter. And I'm not saying that to get under your skin. I'm just
not my Bret Hart.
And I hate saying that about Bret because he is one of the all-time greats too as well, but oh my god, I'm just having like nostalgia thinking with all the times we hear Bret came back and now he's kind of sort of shitting on them again from time to time and bashing the product in interviews. And Del Rio just hasn't stopped since he's left. Yeah. Like, it's Bret Hart times 50, man.
Mike, can you take us outside the WWE, if you will, and tell us what's happening out there?
Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling announced War of the Worlds 2017, Wednesday, May 10th. This is a pay-per-view event that the Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, they do every year, and they do an amazing job doing it. It's the best of Ring of Honor and the best of New Japan, and they're just thrown on one card. And every year they put on a great show. They announced one match so far, the main event. You have the Ring of Honor World Champion, Almighty Christopher Daniels versus Matt Taven.
Oh my God!
So that should be a good match. Plus, they got a bunch of matches that they're going to be announcing soon. This past Sunday, New Japan Pro Wrestling had their morning pay-per-view. I like to call it the morning because I have to be up at like 4 a.m. just to catch a New Japan Pro Wrestling event. Sakura Genesis 2017. One of the key matches on that was the 65th IWPG champion Okada retained his title against Shibata, and it was a very hard-hitting match. Now, the big news on the internet right now is Shibata went into this match not healthy. He's been battling nagging injuries. This match did not help him at all. After the match, he was sent to the emergency room. He was admitted. They said he was conscious, was able to communicate with the doctors after being admitted. Later on, they found that he suffered and was diagnosed with a subdural hematoma and had to go into surgery. Now, because of all the injuries that he suffered in his past, I mean, if you saw Shibata wrestle a match, I mean, he is the definition of strong style. I mean, Nakamura took that term strong style and brought it to the WWE, but Shibata is the real deal. I mean, when you go into a match with Shibata, it is a stiff, hard-hitting match. Doctors say he has a 50% chance he'll ever wrestle again.
Speaking outside the WWE, let's talk to a guy who had a lot of matches outside the WWE, and one of the most bloodiest matches in the history of wrestling. We'll talk a little bit about that, but joining us right now is Manny, the Bull Fernandez. All right, joining us today is a legend of the business, the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. Manny, thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Lost a little blood at the VA today.
Well,
but outside of that, I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
Good to hear. Now, before we get into it, I want to let everybody know you're going to be appearing with ESS Promotions. Everybody can check it out at ESSpromotions.com. You're going to be at the Legends of the Ring convention on June 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and also on June 11th at the Pro Wrestling World in Allentown, PA from 12 to 2. What is it like to get out there and meet the fans who watched you throughout their whole life?
It is fantastic to get back out around the fans again. I mean, I've been locked up at the VA system trying to work with my homeless vet project that I got down here. Plus my ills, got a lot of things going on from Agent Orange and Vietnam and stuff. So just trying to get my life back in order so I can get out and enjoy the fans and give them back what they gave me. I mean, whether they love me or they hate me, they still give me the time to come out and watch me and boo me or cheer me. But it's always good to get back with the fans and let them know how I appreciate everything they've done for me in my career.
Is it a long story short or a short story long to where, how did you get into the wrestling business? And maybe tell us about even just training with Terry Funk, because everybody up here in the Northeast knows Terry Funk quite well.
Oh, yeah, Terry's been a legend in this business since day one. I mean, the Funk family alone, his dad, Senior, and then Junior, his brother, and everybody. But I went to West Texas State, where a lot of the guys came from, and I wasn't interested in pro wrestling at all. Pro wrestling actually came to me. I had this foolish idea that at 6 foot, 260 pounds, I could play in the NFL forever. That didn't work out, But I had a wrestling background since I was in high school. I was decent, pretty good at that. And they kept up with me. I wrestled freestyle, won a freestyle national title for Chavo Guerrero, and then I was involved with the Guerrillas and playing ball at West Texas State. I was kind of, being a Vietnam vet, probably the first guy ever on the football field with a tattoo back in 1977. That stuff was unheard of.
Sure.
And, it was just coincidence of me wanting to fight all the time and the craziness and Dick Murdoch and Blackjack Mulligan and Terry Funk and all the guys that came out to this place, Sweet Hansen, Rip Hawk, and Dory. And they just took interest in me, and they kept bugging me about, okay, you're a great amateur wrestler, but let's do pro. And I said, I want nothing to do with pro. I want to play in the NFL forever. So basically they kept working on that, and they kept digging at me on that. And eventually, when I got waived, third year I got waived with the Tennessee Chiefs. I got waived off there, and I didn't know where to go. I mean, I didn't know at that time that I had severe PTSD. I just thought I was angry at the world because of the Vietnam conflict, but I didn't know about no PTSD. So, I knew I couldn't keep a job, even though I had a degree. I couldn't keep a job with my anger. I'd probably get fired every week. So I told Murdoch and Funk, I said, well, I guess I'll try this thing.
Nice.
And, we just lost a great guy who contributed a lot to me while my training was going on was Dennis Stamp.
Oh, yeah.
He just passed last week, yeah. And Dennis was like my training dummy. He got in there after they showed me everything we do. He was just the guy that was the crash dummy, bang, bang. Poor Dennis took the brunt of the punishment until I learned.
Sure. If we fast forward just a little bit too, in 1979, you became the Florida heavyweight champion after feuding with Terry Funk. What was it like to get that title off your former teacher? It's almost like you went 360 now from the trainee to the wrestler now. So.
See, what it was these guys knew I had a wrestling background, and let me tell you a story about that though.
Sure.
Before I got to Funk. Funk and Murdoch and them sent me my first territory in Florida. And they knew that they had Dusty there, and Jack and Jerry Briscoe, and Eddie Graham, which Eddie Graham was a tough sucker. He was president of NWA, but they also had Carl Gaccio Matsuda, Boris Malenko, and Lou Thez, and everybody that was going to teach me a lesson, Jack and Jerry. So, everybody knew that I was a pretty decent shooter, and what you call a shooter, what the guys who did amateur wrestling knew that I was a shooter. So they put me to the test, and the test was they're going to get in the ring and beat the hell out of me. That's exactly what they did. Mm-hmm. Luke Tez was unbelievable. Not to mention Jack and Jerry and Gotch and Matsuda and the Boris Malenko and all them. I mean, all them guys tore me apart. But what got them is most of the people that tried quit, but I never quit. And
sure.
That led up to the thing, being lucky enough to wrestle my mentor. And him putting everything on the line and fighting for that, dropping that strap to me. He just told me, Graham, trust me, just give us our money. And I didn't know all that till about a year ago. I didn't know he took that kind of chance. We've always been close. We've been together since 1977 when I was a junior at West Texas State University playing ball. And I had so much good memories of Murdoch and Punk and me and Mulligan, all in bars and bar fighting and stuff. But Jerry put that on the line. And, one of the greatest things that I learned in this business when I was young, you didn't have no scripts or no nothing. You went out there, flew by the seat of your pants. Greatest thing I learned for 3 years was shut up and listen, kids. And I did. And I did. That's all. I listened. They guided. They enjoyed it. They told me, these kids can. Harley Race had more fun telling me how to do things to knock me out and hang myself. Jerry Funk was wild because but Harley Race loved doing things like, hey, kid, can you hang yourself? Well, I never tried it. Well, this is how you do it. And I do it, and he go, oh, the stupid kid did
it. Speaking of some of these guys, too, you also formed a tag team with the late, great Dusty Rhodes, and you even won the NWA World Tag Team titles with him. What was it like? Do you have any fun stories with Dusty, too, back then?
Oh, God. Dusty, I got so many stories about me and Dusty. Me and Dusty were so close. We had a love-hate relationship because I was always in the doghouse. I get so mad in the dressing room, slap the hell out of somebody, Tony Blanchard, and Lex Luger, and I'd be in the doghouse. Everybody used to bet money Ricky Morton and see how long it'd be before Manny got in the doghouse. But I love Dusty. He was my booker almost all my career. Everywhere he went, he took me. Of course, I was just pistol. If somebody got stupid, I went in there and showed them, hey, wrestling may be fake, but I ain't. If that's what you think, I'll show you I ain't.
Sure.
That was always just pistol. And me and Dusty, I don't know, it was great, And I think the best thing I had with Dusty was he just put me in check all the time. He never got over, when I got loud and got stupid and wanted to beat up everybody in the dressing room. He was control. He was control. He was a cool guy. He kept me in control, and he told me many times he would come to me and go, easy money. That was his nickname. He gave me that nickname in Tampa, Florida when I started throwing money, and he goes, I just got money. So he came out with, that's why I learned to do the lift, easy money, baby. So that was my nickname, easy money, because I drew money. But he'd always, some of the times houses would be packed, but it'd be flat, and it'd be real flat. And, you always want a good crew underneath you to set the table. We call it setting the table. Danny Brown, Hank Guerrero, Mike Davis, those guys can set a table. Heck, by the time you got out there, you could pick your nose and get over. But there was times we didn't have guys that could do that. It would be dead. And then Dusty come over and say, easy money, baby. You got to get them off their hands, baby. They're sitting on the hands. Let's go do something goofy.
That's right. Now, traveling comes with the job. You guys traveled everywhere back then. Did you have anybody that you loved traveling with? Was there somebody that you always look forward to going on the road with?
Yeah, man, the underneath guys. I used to get in so much trouble. That's when I got in dugouts about because, you know, when I got up there and Dusty was always, oh, you're going to put it, yeah, don't put no belts on me, man. Just pay me. Just pay me. But I love traveling with Hector Guerrero, Denny Brown, Mike Davis. They were the underneath guys, but they were so much fun. I hated I couldn't stand Ted Blanchard, Ric Flair, all them guys were too uppity. I'm not that kind of person, you know.
Yeah.
I know where I came from. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I knew all my life that I didn't want to be above anybody. And I learned that more than anything when I was training in Coronado Island to be UDT, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You become a brother or something and you stay together. And those brothers honor one another, and that's what we do. And that's what I loved about the underneath guys. I mean, we go up and down the road and laughing and giggling about, oh, you did this, I can't believe you did that. I mean, we had great times. I mean, me and Denny Brown, when I won the world, when me and Dusty won the world titles, he told me, okay, now you're a world champion. Now you got to stick around with top guys. I went, that ain't going to happen. So the first night, I won the world titles with Dusty. I got in trouble because me and Denny Brown went out with Mike Davis in Raleigh, North Carolina, where NC State is.
Yeah.
And we had a big box fight against all the NC State football players.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, we had fun, man. We were beating the heck out, throwing it through windows. I got in trouble for that the first night I was world champion. Yeah. My guys underneath guys are fun, man. They were beautiful people.
Sure. Now, was there any unique story behind how you got the Raging Bull nickname, or is there any story behind that? Let the fans know.
I was a dumb guy that would punch guys with a helmet on. I was on the football field punching guys in fights and stuff. I didn't care what you had on. You got me mad back then. I'll fist fight you no matter what. You know, like, it's just that. I mean, besides punching people on the football field, it's game time and when I get mad, I did stupid things too, like frat parties. You know, they try to get you to join a frat. And one time I pulled a ribbon on the frat guys. They thought they were going to pedal me and get me into the frat. I ended up reconning them and I said a bunch of tripwires. So and they ended up in Burlak Saps full of horse dookie. Some Murdoch guy, this guy's nuts. The funny part about that is I almost got kicked out of college before I started college. We showed up for football, 2 days of football at West Texas State. Besides, the first time I ever saw Funk on a horse laughing at us running up to Buffalo Bowl. You got all the linemen. And Buffalo Bowl's like 5 miles away from our stadium, from our training facility. Mm-hmm. So we all had to run up there to get in shape. And Funk would come on the horse. Come on, you fat guys. Run. Come on, you fat guys. So I said, look at that crazy guy. And he goes, oh, man, that's Terry Funk. I said, so who's that? Man, that's still pro wrestling. Big deal, you know.
Sure.
And to me, because I wasn't into that, you know, and I didn't know the history of West Texas State. And I eventually learned it. But it was just fun being there at West Texas State with those people. And, you know, and like I said, I almost got kicked out in the first place because I was still sleeping with a 45 under my pillow. And when I got to West Texas State, every time I was an incoming freshman. And you know how they rib incoming freshmen, they're going to, you know, pull a joke on them and stuff. And two guys come in my room and try to get us off my toes. And I looked at him, I said, with a 45 up between his eyes, I said, bro, I'm going to make your head a canoe. And they like to poop it all over themselves. They like to duke it all over themselves. They were running, and the coach said, he's got a gun in there. I said, well, you got to sleep on it. And the offensive line coach, Joseph Lucas, said, I forgot to tell you guys he's a Vietnam vet.
Now, I got to ask you, too, one of the fans wrote in, too, they saying one of the most notable matches of your career was in '89 against Invader number 3, ruptured his chest cavity, blood everywhere. Did that outcome ever, did it hurt your career or help your career, or was there just any kind of shock value that just went along back then with that? What was it like maybe after the match? I don't know, was it just crazy down there?
After the match, I was gone. My wife was a flight attendant for US Air, so I mounted the plane in my gear and just went home. But No, the shock value was he still lived. You know what you're taking my brother Bodie, and Bruce and Bodie and me were very, very close. Very close. I mean, between him and Stan Hansen and Murdoch, they took such good care of me in Japan. I was, most of the West Texas guys, why? Because they're all tough as nails, always seem to look to me as, like Stan Hansen said a couple of years ago when they asked him at a convention, who was the toughest West Texas guy? He pointed at me and go, yeah, right. I go, no, dude. He goes, no, you're nuts. I go, no, I'm not nuts. I'll kill you, but, they took care of me. I mean, every guy came, Ted DiBiase, Tio Santana, Brody. Of course, Brody and me got real close because we're in San Antonio together, and we trained together. And me, I was a nutcase. I'd go drink all night long to 4 or 5 in the morning. Brody be at the door at 7 a.m., and I was up, hangover and all. I was up. I wasn't going to tell him no. He would have come through the door.
Sure. Do you have any advice for your fans out there looking maybe to get into the business? Any advice from you that you'd want to tell them about, maybe briefly?
Yeah, Steve. The thing about me is there's very few select trainers, and I select who I train. Booker T, Stevie Ray, R-Truth, JBL, Crash Holly, Mabel. All them guys, Homicide, Low Key. I go on, Terry Taylor. I mean, Terry Taylor was my first student ever, and you got to be trained by somebody that's going to get you to the next level. I mean, my mentors, Murdoch, Ford, Mulligan, Dory, Dusty Rhodes, they got me to a different level. They always got me to a place where I knew that I was going to make money in the business. I don't have to punch a clock and work on the weekends. That's not being professional in my book. I worked my tail off to make the football team of the Kansas City Chiefs, even though I was only spent on the taxi squad, which is called the practice squad now. But, hey, I was on that team, and I busted my tail. I wasn't punching the clock trying to make it on the team. I was on that team making money. Not a lot of money, $37,000 a year in the NFL, 1978. It's decent money, but, hey, you got to be a professional, and to be at that level, there's schools out there. You got Tom Pritchard, who I train. Me, Chavo Girl, Tiger Congo, he's part of my bloodline. I forgot about that. You got the Monster Factory, Danny Cage. You got Les Thatcher out there. You got Chris Jackson out there. I mean, these guys have paid their dues. They've been on the road. They know what it's for life to pay your dues and put back into the business. They gave back to the business, whether it was like me being tested by getting on TV with JJ and Dylan and just selling until I got beat. That was a test. And I knew that. But hey, you got to humble yourself to understand. In this business, you make it when you want to learn it. If you think you know everything about the business, you don't know crap. I have been doing this 40 years, and I still learn a lot. I'm still learning a lot. And the kids, I got 3 kids going to tryouts in Philadelphia and Richmond, Virginia, okay? My 3 kids have busted their tail for 12 years because I trained them. I made them go into independent and earn a living, make money, make yourself get over so you get noticed. Now it's their time to shine. But they put in that time. And these guys that go out there and they train for a month and think they know everything, they don't know nothing. And then you get to schools, proper training is the most important about our business. Learn the business, learn the psychology. It's like William Regal told a story at a couple of years ago at a tryout. I took 3 of my kids. He said, I'm a big Manny Fernandez mark. When I was watching Manny Fernandez, he did so many things off the rope. I got this scar, and then he told a story about how he tried to do my backward flip and missed the turnbuckle, ended up hitting his hand and got a scar. He told the kids that. And when it was all said and the kids went away, and I called them over and said, William, come here. I said, brother, I love you, but don't ever tell a story again. I'll beat your ass. Those are the people you respect. And guys, if you have that kind of respect for me to say that, that's what you want to find people like that to become a ballerina, because they're going to get you to another level. If you're paying somebody $3,000-$4,000 to train you, and you're just being a weekend warrior, you got burned. That's stealing money.
Yeah.
That's why I barely train anybody, because I don't steal money. I don't need money that bad that I have to take this kid that I know can't make it. He's never going to make it because obviously he's got no, athletic ability. You can teach some athletic ability, but if you can't comprehend what psychology is in our business, then you're lost. Without psychology, you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
William Regal says to the guys training, why? Answer the question of why. And they look at him all weird. And I go, you guys don't know what why is? My guys do, because I make them know why you in this ring. Why'd you do that? Why'd you go for that? Why'd you do this? That's what you got to answer. That's psychology. And if they can't do that, you're lost. You're
Sure.
lost.
Well, Manny, that's right. It's been an honor speaking with you tonight. Once again, for everybody listening, make sure you check them out June 10th and June 11th. Check out ESSpromotions.com for more information. Manny, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks to Eric Sims. Don't forget Eric Sims of ESS Promotions. He got back together after 17-year absence, and he's a good man. And Steve, it's a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll do this again.
Today's show is brought to you by...
This is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast in association with Celeb VM. Order a personal video message from me and many other wrestlers and celebrities now. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message, especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
Celebrity video messages and another wrestling podcast team up. Be sure to head on over to celebvm.com/AWP.
Promo of the week.
So obviously something's in your mind that you have an opportunity, and this is the land of opportunity. What are you going to do with it?
Well, look, it's cute, that tagline, the land of opportunity.
That's the truth.
It's nice. But I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I just want to make that clear, because I feel like this is a thing. We need to make sure that we get off on the right foot. Not necessarily we get along, because we're all very different people, But we need to know where we stand. And right away, I don't like the fact that you guys didn't draft me to SmackDown in the first place. I don't like that Raw drafted me that late. I'm still very bitter about that, even though it was months ago. But now I'm here. Now all of a sudden I'm good enough to be on your precious show. But you bring Sami Zayn along, that pisses me off right off the bat. In the land of opportunity, that's crap. It's crap. You guys give the chances to the people you like. I'm the United States champion. And whether you like it or not, that makes me better than every single person on SmackDown Live. So the land of opportunity, I don't need your opportunities. I will make my own opportunities and turn this place into, let's see if I can come up with something cute. Land of opportunity. KO country. That sounds all right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the must-see matches of the week. We'll call this the Angry Cooter mixtape. Just pick one match from all the shows that we watched during the week, WWE style. So for Raw, I highly recommend The New Day versus The Revival. Great tag match. Seems to be the end of The New Day on Raw, going to SmackDown. Revival looking strong, New Day ready for a new start, but it was a nice little send-off for them. SmackDown, have to go that triple threat for the main event for the number one contendership for the U.S. title. AJ Styles, Sami Zayn versus Barry Corbin. 205 Live, I can't believe I'm going to say this. TJ Perkins versus Jack Gallagher. Was not a fan of TJ Perkins' little heel turn on Raw. It started to grow on me a little bit on 205 Live. Still my favorite show of the week, 205 Live. And NXT, the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Oney Lorcan. This is the second time Only Lorcan has gotten a must-see match of the week. This guy is coming out of nowhere. I love him. He just seems to have a good match with everybody, and it was a great return for Drew McIntyre, even though Minority Mike seems to hate his fucking entrance music. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the must-see matches. I'm the Social Assassin. Enjoy the Angry Mixtape.
A long time ago, we talked about a topic of jumping ships. You know, guys who went from WCW to WWE and WWE to WCW, but now it's with no competition really. They don't really have too much of that going on. So we have kind of like a brand jumping around. We had the little shake-up last week. Wasn't a draft, but guys definitely switched around from show to show. The following superstars switched from Raw to SmackDown Live, which we had Kevin Owens, we had Charlotte, The New Day, Rusev, Lana, Sami Zayn, The Shining Stars, Sin Cara, Jinder Mahal, and Tamina. So guys from SmackDown, those are the new SmackDown, shakeups, if you will. And then the guys from SmackDown who went to Raw was The Miz and Maurice, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Heath Slater and Rhino, and Kurt Hawkins. Guys, now, there's some interesting things to be said about some of these things that have been that's shaken up, especially the pay-per-view coming up, which is still kindly odd of what they're doing, especially with the brand split. We'll talk about that in a few, but if we could pick some of these guys and just kind of like give our thoughts about it, because now they're on a whole different show, a whole different roster to work with. What could we see? Oh, I even missed, I guess you can, Shinsuke Nakamura was also on SmackDown now. It wasn't really a shift. I know there's some NXT guys that were involved in there too, but at the end of the day, let's talk about, now that they're on this brand new landscape of Raw or SmackDown, what do you want to see happen? What do you think can happen? And was it the right move for some of these guys? Hooter, I'll throw you right under the bus. Just pick somebody. Give us one name from. It doesn't matter what show, SmackDown or Raw. Pick somebody. Is it good that they're there, or what can you see happening with this new shift in landscape?
Oh God! All right, looking at these lists, overall, just before I get in that, my impression was I thought Raw got a lot of the steals from this draft. When I look at who SmackDown got compared, I think they made better out. Just the names kind of impressed me more. But the name that sticks out the most is probably the steal is Charlotte to SmackDown. Because, I mean, quite honestly, she's just run through everybody on Raw. I mean, there's the Bayley feud, the Sasha Banks feud. They kind of teased the Nia Jax feud. They didn't really have that long of a rivalry. I think they could have gone there. But her going to SmackDown, the reason this sticks out to me is because she's also been champion for so long. She already had the Becky Lynch feud. She's already had the Natalya feud. When you really look at Charlotte, they really should have kept her on Raw, had her go up against a Mickie James, had her go up against an Alexa Bliss, because you went from one pond that she's already swam through to another pond that she's already swam through. Who's she going to wrestle here? Carmella? I mean, come on. It's a shame. I kind of thought she might get a nice new run, but when you look at the people on that roster, she's been through it already.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? Who's somebody that maybe stood out from either one of the shows that who moved over?
I got a couple, but the one that really stood out to me the most was The Miz. I thought that was a horrible move, and this is why. Because The Miz on SmackDown was amazing. He made himself relevant. He made himself into something worth watching. Seeing the chemistry between him and Daniel Bryan was a must-see every week. I tuned into Talking Smack simply because of that chemistry they had, because I loved when The Miz was advertised to be on that show. You bring him over to Raw, and I think that devalues him. The reason why, on SmackDown, he could have had a title run, and he could have went far with it. Bring him to Raw, where a guy like Brock Lesnar is, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to beat Lesnar. Lesnar's not going to put this guy over. Plus, you got other guys like a Finn Balor, a Dean Ambrose, who they keep pushing. who else do they got on Raw? Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins, a Samoa Joe. He's like a small fish in a big pond now, where on SmackDown he fit in just perfectly. So I thought that was a poor decision to move him over. He could have done big things, especially with Bray Wyatt coming over to SmackDown. They needed a heel. They needed a top heel. You bring Bray Wyatt over to SmackDown. That was, an opportunity for The Miz. Another thing that really stood out to me.
You mean to Raw? You brought Bray Wyatt over to Raw.
Bray Wyatt over to Raw. Excuse me. One thing that really stood out to me was Tamina. And this is why. This was not a shake-up, ladies and gentlemen, okay? She was on the freaking SmackDown roster. She was in the back, not doing anything. She was working house shows. I know because I was at a SmackDown house show in Albany, New York last month, and she was a part of the show. She was in the title match. They had like a 6-7 woman title match, and Tamina was there. She was also working house shows. So don't insult my intelligence by saying she was drafted over from Raw to SmackDown when she was originally on that SmackDown roster. I mean, it was just, I saw that and I just started laughing out loud.
They just didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
How to re-debut her, if you will.
Handsome Rusev is on SmackDown too, which when he comes back from his shoulder injury, that should be interesting. I kind of maybe he might be able to fill in the void that The Miz is going to leave.
Well, yeah, with that too is that you have Lana now, who's actually, I think, going to be wrestling on SmackDown. So that should be even more interesting because I think Rusev's a few months out too from his injury. So I'm curious to see how they'll use her as a wrestler now too.
Hey guys, what does Lana spelled backwards mean?
Oh, sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, that should be her new gimmick because she was actually sexually violated and not on United Airlines. I don't know if you guys heard that story.
Oh, dude, yeah, I saw that tweet, man. That's crazy. Well, fucking TSA going crazy on people, man. What is up
Poor
with this?
segue.
Well, a lot of other people moving around, shifting shows. A lot of the mid-carders or people just didn't really get a chance, like the Shining Stars. Now, I totally hated them as the Los Matadores. They were so good as just who they were, the Colognes. Now, just that's who they should be. They still have their names, but they're just trying to give them that name of a tag team, the Shining Stars. I think if they do this on SmackDown, dump that gimmick, dump that stupid timeshare thing, just be... If you want to call them the Shining Stars, fine, but still be like they used to be. Be the Colognes. Just, you don't need no silly gimmick. Just wrestle like they know how to do. Live off their father's legacy, and I think hopefully they can kind of give them a new image over in SmackDown because they definitely were being not wasted, but they were definitely the jobber tag team over there. So maybe something might change for them. A lot of other people changed hands too, but one of the interesting things that we're going to see is these title matches. Especially the United States title match and the WWE title match at Payback, because when you switch brands, you figure, okay, Dean Ambrose is on Raw now, so we'll have, he's the Intercontinental Champion. Now Kevin Owens is on SmackDown, so now he's the United States Champion. But at Payback, they're going to have Kevin Owens versus Jericho for the United States Championship, and I think what's a little bit different from the other match says whoever wins, Kevin Owens or Chris Jericho, if they win that United States Championship, they will be on SmackDown officially. So I'm almost wondering if they're jumping the gun with Kevin Owens to where they just wanted to test the waters, to where if he loses to Chris Jericho, Jericho could be on SmackDown and maybe Kevin Owens just goes back to Raw. I doubt it.
That's not happening.
I know, it's just one of those things to throw out there. But also, like you said, we talked about earlier with the Universal title match, nowhere to be seen. You're going to have Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, who's now on Raw, go one-on-one for the championship match. Now, in my book, I think I think Bray Wyatt should win that championship match just to give him credibility. He's been in there long enough to be a 2-time champion compared to the 13-time champion that Randy Orton is. So, in my book, I would love to see Bray Wyatt win that championship and even bring that to Raw, just to fill that void of maybe no Universal Championship. Meanwhile, I know then that leaves SmackDown in the dust for maybe 2 months until they have a draft, but I don't know. There's so many things up in the air, but what do you guys think about this, to where the Raw exclusive pay-per-view is having SmackDown matches on it now? I mean, I thought that was the whole point of brand separation.
Well, I mean, Bray Wyatt is a Raw superstar who was already booked in a title match. That's how they're using it. And like, again, I said it earlier, it's just smoke and mirrors to hide the fact that there is no Universal title. But let's go back to your shining stars there. First off, let me say something. Primo and Epico are looking pudgy as fuck. Mike, you need to train these boys. I mean, you guys, they're your namesake. You know what I'm saying? You need to help these boys out, get them back into shape. That's one. Two, you didn't see them coming down with any timeshares, and that fucking powerbomb into the backstabber finisher that they did was absolutely awesome. Yeah. So maybe these guys could be a player if, they can stop drinking them six-packs and maybe, lean out a little bit because, holy shit, man.
If this is them changing their gimmick, what is this, number 20 that they're changing? It's like, what has a more tally count? Them changing their gimmicks or the Big Show turning?
That's true.
I do gotta agree with you. Their finisher, the power bomb to the backstabber, I thought it was cool, and I saw an aggressive side. And you're right, you didn't see the timeshare, so hopefully they get a nasty push with them because those guys are good in the ring. You can't take that away from them.
No, sure. And
last but not least, Credo, let's talk Sami Zayn real quick, though.
Yeah.
This guy goes from obscurity on Raw to doing bullshit matches, and his first night being the main event of SmackDown with AJ Styles and Baron Corbin. I could have watched this match all night. This was so much fun. There's a lot of guys I cannot wait to see Sami Zayn wrestle. I would love to see another just one-on-one match with him and AJ Styles. But
I was listening to you, but a guy like Sami Zayn, for something about him with his character, he can take those losses and come back, and he's still going to be that underdog from the underworld. I mean, if a guy like Baron Corbin, he needs to not be the guy who takes the fall in those matches because they're trying to push him as that next big man.
Gotta make him look strong, yeah.
Pretty much. And a guy like Sami Zayn, I mean, it sucks to see him taking falls like that, but at the same time, he's one of those guys that he could take a fall from a guy like AJ Styles and he could still be popular the next Tuesday. So I mean, I don't think that hurts him at all.
True, but what he really does need is a catchphrase. He needs something.
Yeah.
Because if he had the right catchphrase, I swear to you, and it's not just because of his look, he could be the next Daniel Bryan because he is popular as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, to get over with everybody, man, he needs that little something to put him over.
He yells "Let's go" when he comes out.
Oh, fuck out of here!
I mean, he yells "Let's go," and they put "Let's go" on the Titantron when he comes out.
That song needs to go too.
It's catchy. I'm sorry.
So fucking Oh, I can't say the R word.
I love how the crowd goes along with it too.
Well, guys, people have shifted shows, not like it was back in the 90s or 80s or whatever, but it's a little bit different now. And depending on how many people switched in this little shakeup, if they do it in June, do you think, are they going to have another draft just a few months away, or do you think they'll just sit on this for a little bit, and then if they really need a draft, it'll come back, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the year? Or do you think...
I don't think they need one.
Yeah, it's they shifted enough, right? They didn't really need a draft.
They took the right players for the most part. I mean, there was a couple of questionable moves. I mean, did anybody... Let's talk about the ones we don't give a fuck about. Did anybody care that Sin Cara went over to fucking SmackDown? Is anybody talking about...
Well, Apollo Crews was the first one to move to any show, and they still didn't even use him on the show.
Wait a minute. He was?
Yeah, they had him backstage on. It was a WWE.com or whatever app exclusive.
Oh, it was an exclusive.
And it was an hour or so before the show, and he was the first one that was going to Raw, and they still didn't even use him on Raw.
Oh, that's great. Does anybody care about Kurt Hawkins going to Raw? Getting knocked out by the Big Show. Welcome to the big times, kid.
Can I say something?
Please.
What really annoyed me was the fact how they did the shakeup. Did it bother anybody else that it's they pretty much just they just came out like on Raw, for instance, when The Miz came out as John Cena, I thought this was just going to be like everybody's on the show and they're going to announce who gets traded and make it into a big deal.
Yeah.
I was so freaking confused. And then Michael Cole just filled us in like 10 minutes later, like, oh, well, these are the additions, Dean Ambrose and The Miz. And I'm like, wait, what? There wasn't like, they didn't make a big deal. It's like saying like, okay, next week we're going to record the show and all of a sudden Chris Jericho just shows up. He's on the show now. No explanation, no nothing. He's just doing the podcast with us, another wrestling podcast with us. It just mind boggles me how they think of this stuff. It was cool.
Different about that, Mike.
It was cool on SmackDown, but like they didn't explain it.
It's like they're having buyer's remorse of this whole brand split, because it's like, how long has the brand split even been, affected, an effect to where it's like, we got to shake it up already. Has it been really that bad that they just need to shift all these people
do
around?
That every year, though. I mean, they literally used to do it every year. And the thing about it used to drive me nuts is when they would do the drafts, where guys would get moved over. I hated the fact that they dragged it out, where they would come to the podium, like made the whole production. I kind of liked how they just got to the point, like, oh shit, that's The Miz. All right, he must be on fucking Raw now. That was cool to me. Like, it was different than what we're used to, and I appreciate when they finally give you something different like that.
It's just the fact that they didn't explain it right away. So I'm kind of sitting there like wondering what is going on. Like, they didn't explain that these guys are on the show. They were just out there doing a promo, because from what I was informed was everybody is going to be on Raw. Everybody from Raw and SmackDown. That was the advertisement. Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, the whole SmackDown roster, everybody. So when then Miz and Dean Ambrose are out there doing a 10-minute promo, I'm just like, oh, this is just, the kill time before they do the first trade. And all of a sudden, Michael Cole fills us in that's the trade. I can only imagine what people in the audience were thinking.
I didn't even see Heath Slater, Rhino, Kalisto. That I didn't even know they got traded, because I was fast forwarding through the commercials and I missed that they just showed them on screen as like, hey, and now this guy's on Raw. So it wasn't even like a part of the show. It was just like showing their graphic that they went onto the show. So I was like, oh, I didn't even realize until I saw it online. I was like, when were they on Raw? And I was like going back and I didn't realize. It's been a wacky week though with all this draft. Guys, any final thoughts about what you plan to see the next few months with this whole new landscape? Because if they even did do a draft, it's like, how many more people do you draft? Like I thought it was just gonna be like 3 or 5 people, but it was definitely a lot more than that for each show.
I'd like to see building new stars. That's all I want to see. You're gonna shake things up. Awesome. Lesnar's gonna take time off. Okay, whatever. But in this time frame now, you have my attention as a wrestling fan. Take advantage of that you have my attention. Don't have my attention and then drop me off on the corner on Monday. Keep me riding on this bus.
Don't give me blue balls. Don't give me blue balls.
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right, guys. Well, everything has been shaken up. But everybody listening, once again, make sure you head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. You can find all of our links. Like us, follow us, subscribe to Another Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, fuck JBL.
Why? What the fuck happened now?
That motherfucker blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, Mom. Wait a minute, you're on Twitter?